Anywho, we're moving on to the next topic because it seems this is going to be one of our two biggest segments of the day. It seems that WWE is facing yet another lawsuit. This time, a former writer is accusing Vince McMahon and WWE for racist scene scripts. Allegedly, the black female writer said that she was discriminated against for objectifying or objecting to offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in the scripts of black talent. Two of those talents that were listed were Bianca Belair and Apollo Crews. She said that her complaints were ignored, but that she was terminated for taking home a WrestleMania branded chair, which was a common thing to do amongst white male writers, and they were not allegedly punished for it. So I want to know, do you believe these accusations, and what does this say about WWE's creative environment?
Do I believe these accusations? This is WWE. They've been racist for all I know. Like, this is the same company that had Roddy Piper do blackface and cut a whole promo. This is the same company that had cut the most racist segment on Booker T and Triple H, and Lily said, "Dance for me, Booker, dance." This is the same company that chased down Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Nothing about
that was crazy.
Yeah, like, this company, for all I've known, has been extremely racist. So this does not shock me at all. And the more I read into this case, they were more or less saying that this wasn't the only incident. They had there was a wrestler that they wanted to play a role in which they had a helping hand in 9/11, which was, why would you do that? Like, why? Like, even when they tried that back in the day with Muhammad Hassan, I think that was the guy's name when we were kids,
Yeah,
right?
Muhammad Hassan, I remember that,
They tried cutting a 9/11 promo. Like, I don't know why. Like, why? I think the alleged wrestler that they tried doing this with was Mansoor when I read into it. So nothing about this, like, shocks me. I 110% believe her. I think with the Bianca Belair writings that they had in for her, they were trying to make her act, ghetto, and have her say, let me take out my earrings for, like, I be your ass, some shit like that. Nothing about this shocks me. And I feel like WWE will never stop acting this way. I feel like, on the surface, they want to appear like they're always politically correct and in with the times, but they're still like creatures of habits to their own sinful ways. And I don't see this ever stopping. Like, they probably hired a black writer just so they could, like, on their demographics say, "Oh yes, we have diversity in our company." You know what I mean? They have people like Bianca Belair push, so when they have Black History Month, they could just put a collage up a bunch of black wrestlers. But I don't think realistically they actually care. And we always known that. Like, we always have known this since we were small watching wrestling, that yeah, like, certain people with a certain look, with a certain skin color, a certain eye color, you know what I mean? They get treated correctly. They could be whoever they want to be, but if you're in the other box, if you're ethnic, you are confined to your stereotypes. Like, that's just how this company is. And it gets more and more frustrating for me as a fan to, like, hang in there and watch and support, because I love wrestling, but I hate the way that I have to view and watch my favorite wrestlers that look closer to me, or just representing other people out there that don't look like me but don't look like them, just be misrepresented. Like, it's 2023. Why are we still talking about or trying to get stereotypes over? It's not funny. Like, we're so much more than that. And it's such a shame that she got fired for that, because it's petty. And that happens so often in so many workplaces where, and I think Jordan could even share a story. Jordan could even share a story on this, where it's just like, there's a bunch of microaggressions that happen. They just wait to find the smallest, pettiest thing, because they can't fire you on paper because you're black, and that, you being ethnic makes it uncomfortable. You being your authentic self makes it uncomfortable, because there's laws now that prevent that, and that's a lawsuit there. So they wait to find the pettiest, smallest thing. This does not shock me. But you know what? Let me end my rant right here, because I'm sure Jordan has a lot to unload here.
I'm not going to get into that many details. I'm not going to share the story as of yet. But what I will say is this, and it applies to my real life, and it also applies to this. There's a difference between what a company likes and what a company considers a value.
Mm-hmm.
The diversity, equity, and inclusion buzz term is probably one of the most thrown around buzz terms in the past 5 years for multiple reasons. The rise of Black Lives Matter, um, the conflict involving George Floyd, people of color in places of power that are wanting more to be done, to be recognized, to be seen, and to be heard, and to be represented correctly, compensated correctly, treated correctly. And I feel like the term is thrown around, and there are some workplaces that even like diversity because it looks good for marketing, and it looks good in the brochure, and it looks good on paper, and it looks good when you're telling clients about who you are. But just because you like something doesn't mean that it is a value within your company, because ultimately it is what you do behind closed doors that determines what your values are as a company. And we're seeing this play out in real life with WWE. Um, Considering that Crime Time was a thing, considering that Road Dogg or Billy Gunn came out in blackface, considering that Muhammad Hassan was a thing in WWE, that JBL was chasing quote unquote Mexicans from the border. Um, Not only do I believe these accusations to be true, but I do believe that someone would be fired for trying to object um, certain things from happening and certain words and stereotypes to be used and portrayed. I 100% believe the accusations. And once again, it's alleged. Right now, I'm using that term because that is the legal thing that we have to do is say allegedly. But I believe that this is what I believe that this is definitely I believe that this is definitely something to be true. I think it's very, very interesting though, because I feel like there was a thought that I had a while ago, saying, if we can portray, if there are racist ideals that are portrayed in movies and TV shows, why can't it be done in wrestling where a black character can overcome said racist jargon or said racist stereotypes or whatever the case may be? I had that thought a while ago. Like, if it's done in other forms of entertainment as a form of entertainment, then why can't it be done in wrestling? But when I see stuff like this, and then when we also consider things that have been happening behind closed doors outside of what's happening with creative, the difference between what happens in film and in television versus what happens in wrestling is that in film and television, you usually have a writer or a director who understands that this is wrong. Whereas in wrestling, because it is white owned and dominated, there is a very high likelihood that people that are bringing these stereotypes and these offensively racist and stereotypical jargon are people that don't understand the significance of what they're doing.
Yeah,
They
context is
don't.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. Context is everything. They don't understand how disrespectful certain things are. They don't even understand why portraying certain stereotypes can damage a group of people. You know what I'm saying? So I, like you said, context is everything. But I think that this reveals a lot about the WWE creative environment, that there is no true diversity. And if it does, because diversity isn't just a nuance in how you look, it's a nuance in perspective and an opinion. And if you're just firing somebody because they have an objection to what you're doing, which is clearly disrespectful, then are you really as diverse, equitable, and inclusion centered as you like to be portrayed? Or is it just you're doing as much as you can that you can get away with? Like, is this true diversity, equity, and inclusion, or are you just putting black people on screen because you want to cut of the black dollar?
For real.
And there's a
Also, shout out
difference.
to her, by the way. Shout out to her because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other black writers that felt uncomfortable, but because they
Mm-hmm.
probably are getting paid well, or it just looks good on their resume to be signed to the WWE and to have a writing position, they probably just like stay quiet. Honestly, I don't know how old she is. Maybe that was disclosed somewhere, but shout out to her for having some balls and standing up because, I mean, that's two minorities right there. You're a woman and you're black, and you're standing up for the entire roster that clearly would feel uncomfortable doing this. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like standing up against Vince McMahon, that's really
Yeah.
tough. Like his own employees that are on screen like are scared of him, you know, but
Mm.
she did the right thing. So shout out to her because like I said, like she did what many would not and couldn't, and she was more than willing to risk her job for it. So I hope she finds something else that's more suitable for her, because she doesn't deserve to be in an environment that she feels uncomfortable at, no matter how much they're paying her. Screw that. You
Mm.
shouldn't have to like put your morals to the side for the sake of a check. And some people like doing that. Some do. A lot of
Right.
people that are employed there love to do that. But I love the fact that she felt some type of way and she stood on it 10 toes
Mm.
down, no matter what the consequences were, and she's airing them out as she should. She's a
As she
queen.
should.
Love that.
So shout outs to her for sure. But yeah, I want to know how everybody else feels about these lawsuits. Leave your comments below. Let us know how you guys feel. We're gonna move on because I know Mo's about to go off on this.